Welcome back, people. That was a shit show now, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's going to be one of those recordings, isn't it?
I think it will be.
Probably. We're all too tired.
I am not tired.
She's not tired. She's just done with this world. And there's a difference.
And very, very angry as well.
It's called frustration, not anger.
They're pretty.
She's not angry. She's disappointed.
Yeah. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Like both your wives are.
What?
We're waifus. Deal with it.
Ah!
We're not on that segment yet.
You're going to need to elaborate on that later.
Okay.
Or don't.
Nah, let's not.
So we're now in the presentation here, I think, right? I don't know.
Yeah, the production value?
Yes.
That's right. I forget the name of my own segment.
I had a question about this. So sometimes, like when they're fighting on the train and there's that tree thing, that's not traditional animation, right? That's like what they kind of did for Medusa or whatever in Babylonia?
Yeah, so they do. I'm pretty sure they use a little CG here because Studio Troika, I think it is, who did this, are actually comprised, if I'm not wrong, of some ex-employees of Ufotable who you started doing a lot of that.
Okay, because I noticed that and I think with the fairy door in the Wild Hunt episode as well, those two instances really looked a little funky.
Yeah.
In kind of the Medusa way. I don't hate it. I just could notice it.
It stands out a bit.
Yeah, it's not bad though. I like it. I like the animation though. I like the way that all the characters look and everything.
Oh, it's very crisp. Because it's the second newest TV anime for Fate. So that's why it looks very crisp, all things considered.
Yeah, I was wondering how new it was because it was looking very crisp on my TV.
It's pretty damn new. 2019, was it?
2018 maybe? Let me see.
Fresh.
It's really fresh though. The anime. Yeah, 2019. So only 2 years old at this point.
Yeah.
The OP. It's a non-lyric OP, so it's different.
So normally I don't have issues with non-lyric OPs, or I didn't mind when we had one in Akatsuki no Yona and shit, but I feel like this OP just did not leave an imprint on you know what, it sounded like background OST music for the rest of the show, not like it should have been an OP. It sounded like they were just the track that plays in the background of the show was just they just made it louder for a section. It didn't sound like it was created as an opening. It was nice music though. Violins.
Oh yeah, no, I love the composition. It just doesn't stick out as an OP because it's sort of tries to blend itself into the rest of the show. I noticed.
I'll go ahead and get into what my thoughts are for the OP. This one is very minor, a very, very minor conjecture. I think it's more so indicative of Lord Melloi's a journey as he's going through as the main teacher of the series. Honestly, I'd say though that if they did cut out the OP, that wouldn't take away anything from it. If anything, it would just add more screen time. But I will say that the ending is honestly where the animation for this gets better. I feel like the ending would serve a little bit better as an OP than the actual OP does. But I also do see the benefit in having it as an ending because it's more so indicative of Gray's character and how she sort of sees everyone else around her.
Man, it's the second time Realm's been extremely analytical at this section. I'm impressed.
I know, I'm low-key very proud.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm not disappointed anymore.
Good. I'm glad.
I actually didn't pay a ton of attention to the ED. I listened to the first couple seconds of it, and I could tell it sounded nice to me, but I also usually never listen to EDs because I find that they typically sound a little bit more depressing than OPs do, and I just don't want to listen to that most of the time. But I did stay for the one post-credit scene in episode 6 or 5. There was one post-credit scene in the whole series.
You'll have to remind me what that was later.
Oh,
once we get to story.
Yeah. I unfortunately missed that one.
I really like the visuals of the OP. I'll say that.
Yeah.
It's very
Noragami.
Yeah,
It reminded me of Noragami at times.
I don't remember the Noragami visuals enough to actually say. I guess, I guess.
Like the black on white or whatever, like the character's eyes being the more prominent feature.
Yeah, coloring the character's eyes, leaving everything else in kind of a more monochrome setting.
I like the pictures of the OP were really great, but I kind of liked a little bit like the story that you actually got with ED a bit more, for me at least.
I did like that the animation wasn't the same animation over and over again in the OP and ED. It did change and vary as the series moved forward. Mm-hmm. That was nice.
So, yeah. Man, I really am having a hard time keeping this going.
I want to say, I feel so... it's just... Like, I know that, like... Fate characters are often the heroes at least are designed by different people, but I swear to God that Melloi looks exactly like somebody else in a different anime, and I just can't place it, but identical in the way that he kind of looks like Realm. He kind of looks like Kaneda from D. Gray Man.
Yeah, actually, he kind of does, but with the ponytail or whatever.
Yeah, he looks a little bit like that, but there's someone else as well that he reminds me of.
He does look.
Yeah.
he quite literally looks like Sirius. He quite literally looks like Sirius Black from Harry Potter. Or not Sirius. Sorry, not Sirius Black. Severus Snape. That's what I meant.
Longer hair.
How long has it been since you've seen Severus Snape?
It's probably been a minute. I mean, he has longer hair.
His hair's like this long.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I wouldn't say Snape. Yeah. That's a little.
It's a bit.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, that's a bit of a stretch.
It's a bit of a stretch for me, but I don't know. It's been a minute since I've seen Harry Potter.
Yeah.
I have no idea who that character you're thinking of is. Any particular series, maybe?
Hang on a second. I have an idea.
Melloi actually show up in other Fate series, at the.
Oh, he shows up all the time.
Seen that.
We haven't seen that on the podcast yet.
Yeah.
As Seki hunts for what was on the tip of her tongue for the character she wrote.
I hunt.
See, I need to keep this going.
I would ask actually about Gray, but we're not on characters yet.
Yeah.
I also don't know, since it wasn't in the anime, I don't know if I want to spoil that on podcast, but if you have any questions,
okay. Yeah. The whole art style for the entire show overall with all the characters looks almost identical to Black Butler at times.
Yeah.
That's one big thing.
Yeah.
It looks just like Black Butler a lot of the time.
It really does, actually.
Yeah.
Really?
Especially some of the more aristocratic,
It's one of the Black Butler characters.
I can see that.
Oh, yeah. And Black Butler had surprisingly crisp animation for the fact that it's much older.
That might just have to do with, the setting, though, especially because it's
because they're both
aristocratic London setting.
Yeah. Let's see.
But I guess that permeates the entire show. Is they want you to see aristocratic London, hear aristocratic London.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair.
With that coffee shop, taste aristocratic London. They're really going for that sort of tone with the show.
Oh, God. You know what? No, I'm done Googling characters who look like Lord Melloi because somebody just put Orochimaru's eye makeup on him. Oof. And, low-key, it's a little too accurate for me to be comfortable staring at that image. Little too accurate.
I will say, since it's a Fate series, this is the one Fate series where I actually think the fight scenes don't really matter that much at all. Yeah. They're very short and very to the point. They're not bad. They're to the point, though, which is a good thing, I think. I don't think long, over-drawn-out fight scenes would work really well for this series.
That's honestly, if you're looking for long, drawn-out fight scenes, that's where, the actual, mainline Fate with servants kind of is.
Yeah.
Where they've got, 1 to 2, maybe 2 episode fights.
I just felt like I needed to throw that out there because it is still a Fate series ultimately. So
it does actually this as other Fate series. It does use a very nice use of darkness or nighttime in between fight scenes and stuff like that. Yeah,
yeah.
To give contrast.
All right. Do we want to go ahead and move on?
So I watched a Ghibli movie yesterday with my friend, and we watched Howl's Moving Castle. And there's these parts in Howl's Moving Castle sometimes when you're seeing the background of like a large town, and and the backgrounds are always like super detailed. And sometimes when you're looking at like the background of like what I can only assume is the clock tower or whatever and everything else, it can be really detailed in the background. Like the actual buildings themselves are very detailed. More so than I've noticed in other anime. Like there's a shot in the last episode where they're looking at the statue, and behind it you see the entire facade of the building, and there's a separate statue in every single alcove, and they're maybe only like half an inch tall on the screen I was watching it on, but you could still tell that every single one was different and individual looking.
Wow, that's a detail to catch.
I really like Studio Ghibli backgrounds and scenery, so it really catches my eye when people manage to impart minute detail into sections that you really didn't need to go that hard for, but you chose to. It's the immersion into the world. Also, they were very detailed with the forest of the Dead Apostles.
Oh yeah, the Forest of Dead Apostles.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what the word was.
I don't remember either. That's a bit of a... I'm sure I'll get into it more later, but this has a lot of like fate lexicon being thrown around in it.
But definitely if you like look at it or like when it's like in the background of shots, they even include like detailing on all the trees and stuff. That's not just the same tree repotted all over the place. It's the same with when we were looking at the fairy gate in the Dead episode, like the catacomb. The fairy gate it's irregular all the way around. It's not just a mirrored design from one side to the other. It is very slightly irregular.
I think I underestimated Seki's love for Victorian London architecture and the general aesthetic, because man, this is the most detail I've ever heard Seki describe in a scene ever in an anime.
I like backgrounds, okay?
When they suit your aesthetic, you like the backgrounds.
Oh yeah, you know what the best background and setting in this entire show was? Karnak. Karnak was so detailed. Like literally, you could see sometimes when they had like an Egyptian statue like holding up the fan, like they even managed all the jewel tones are different and the same like they would have been like originally from what we can tell of like paint left over. It was incredibly detailed. Like every single one of the female statues, when they're talking about heads, you can see the hair carved in and everything.
What animations did this again?
Troika, same people who did Recreators. So yeah.
So that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to find out that forest name, but wow, Wikipedia is being an ass about it. That's impressive. They don't even mention it at all in their episode description.
To be honest, I don't blame them.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, I think with that, we can probably move on to
the
story.
Story. We're out of it today.
Yeah, so we'll be back.
Story time.
See ya. Try harder, everybody.